I think it must be so, like, I'm always fascinated with people who look like their parents. And I know you're like, well, yeah, who else would they look like? You'd be surprised. Sometimes niggas can look like their great ancestors or just have random genes that pop out of nowhere. It's fucking trippy. But I'm just saying, I find it fascinating. Because I don't know, imagine how it would feel to, like, have a kid that you didn't want when you were unhealed and traumatized and it looks just like you, but with the eyes of the person who like destroyed your trust and betrayed you the most. Like, I don't know, that's something I think about. I woke up recently and I looked and I pulled out my phone and I looked in my at myself on my camera and I saw my mom staring back at me and I was like, "Oh shit, I look like that ugly whore. I need to stop." No, and then I thought, "Okay, shit, I need to make sure I'm not slowly becoming her cuz my whole enjoyable self-esteem thing is because I'm nothing like her." Amen. And I want to continue that. But recently I've been drinking a lot and being depressed a lot and being a lot more antagonistic and narcissistic and straight up angry. I'm developing traits like her and I don't want to be like her. But I am from her lineage. It's so interesting to know that when I look in the mirror, sometimes I see myself looking at me. Sometimes I get a glimpse of my mother. Sometimes I get a glimpse of my granny on my mom's side. It's sometimes I'll see the faintest glimpse of my half sibling or the other one, because my mom got around. Sorry, that's a little mean, but it's true. And I don't know, it's a surreal feeling. It's like, oh, look, I look like people I hate. I look like people I don't think about and hardly remember on most days. It's a surreal feeling. It kind of makes me, I don't know, like, maybe I just have mental issues, but I don't know how I would feel if I had a bunch of kids and they all came out looking just like me. It's like, wow, I'm just raising a bunch of different versions of myself, except they're going to be a part of, like, what? Gen Alpha and shit. I don't know. It must be super fucking surreal. It's like you're raising versions of yourself or of the person you love the most in a childlike form and trying to make like a cool human being from scratch. Ideally, not the I like sometimes people will be like, I need to make them the same way as their parent. Other times they want to make them anything like the total opposite. It must be weird. I have this homegirl. She had a kid, and if you're seeing this, hey girl, hope you're doing well. And I know that when she gave birth, it was very like at first the baby looked just like her, and I thought, what a blessing, because the dad was fucking ugly. But with time, the baby has started looking like the father, but not like the worst parts of the father, not like the obesity and the alcoholism and the abuse of women and the stank and rank and matted hair and 5 o'clock shadow and pasty but also splotchy and hyperpigmented skin. That nigga looks nasty, like a fucked up mosaic, like fucked up pointillism artwork using nothing but shades of feces, and that's not even an exaggeration. He's a terrible looking man. But you know, he was like, I don't get how they got together, but whatever. Either way, the baby has the best parts of him. It has his eyes, it has his lips, and it has his cheeks and his skin color, and he wears it well. And it's so interesting. I don't know. It's hard to quite put my finger on it, but I find it like she loves the baby and she treats it so amazingly well, and I think that's strong to do because she kind of did and didn't want the baby, from what I recall. Like, she wanted the baby when he was around. She didn't want it once he got abusive and then abandoned her. But, you know, she still was, in the very late stages, she got optimistic about it. And I wonder how it feels to give birth to a baby that is almost a clone of the person who beat you and left you at your lowest. And now you're like, shit, I have like, you're basically gifted like a wholesome version of that person who has never done you wrong. And you have to put your pride and your past aside and move on. I was reading a web comic tonight called The Remarried Empress. It's great. It's on Webtoon. I highly recommend it. I'm on chapter 198. I've been following the series for a long time. And that also came up as a controversy among characters because the main, like, excuse me, spoiler alert, but one of the princes, he kind of like gets with this woman who ends up being a vile, vile bitch, like organized a bunch of murders, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, but he has a baby with her. So now he's like, okay, shit, this is my baby with this woman. And, like, how do I put this? He hated that woman. At some point, she was absolute, like, he was obsessed with her and adored every moment with her. And the next thing you know, she was a walking nightmare instead of a daydream, like he thought. The baby didn't go away. Like, the mother got sentenced to death, as she fucking rightfully should have. She was a terrible person in the story, and she had it coming. It was still sad to see her go, though. And then meanwhile, as for the husband character, it's like, okay, now he's stuck with the newborn baby who looks exactly like the mother. And it's like, okay, shit, you have to put your pride aside and be like, this baby is like her clone, but except she did nothing wrong. It's like a version of her who has made no mistakes, no errors, and can improve and have a beautiful life. And you have to owe it to yourself to not hold a grudge, not think about their parent, and just be like, this is a new person. It's not me, it's not them. This is a new child that I have to raise with love and respect. I feel bad for women who have the babies of their rapists and then have to just kind of have their face haunting them wherever they go. I don't know if my mother felt that way about like my older sibling. I doubt it. But if she did, that would be fucked up because there was several elements of favoritism between the way we were all individually born, and I find that disturbing. I wouldn't put it past her, but I don't think that's the case. But it's still like shit. Like if I had a baby that was the like no offense, even I like to think I would be an amazing mother. Like I can absolutely predict that I will have flaws as any parent will, but like holy shit, if I were forced to have a baby with someone who I absolutely did not want in my body, it would feel like a contamination and then like or like a parasite, like an invasion. And if I didn't have the ability to get an abortion and I had to give birth and change my whole body chemistry and this and that without my consent just to give birth to like some new being who is just like that has the same eyes as my rapist, the same features, the same everything, maybe a different gender, maybe certain different build or mannerisms, but it's like that still would fuck me up. So people who can raise the children that they didn't want, who look just like the people who shouldn't have been around, they're extremely fucking strong because not everyone has it in them to do that. Sincerely, like I would lose my fucking shit. I don't think I would be like in those situations. I don't know how good of a parent I would be. It would make me so distressed. I'm distressed just thinking about it. Also, from the mindset of the child, I'll put it this way. You know that guy Mitchell I was with for Christmas? I found a picture of his family, and let's just say he was right. He does look exactly like his dad. And I wonder how that feels. It kind of makes me disturbed because it's like when you hear about abusive parents, and then it's like, you let me get this straight. You saw a younger, youthful version of yourself that can grow and has so much potential and joy on this planet, and you wanted to strike fear into its heart. Like, that's like being delivered a younger version of yourself and being like, I intend to cause you more pain and misery and problems because I feel like it. Like, what do you mean you saw, like, a version of you that's more delicate, younger, fragile, and you thought, I should beat the shit out of it? I should make it scared. Its head should be between its knees and cowering for dear life when I walk in the fucking door. I need to know every waking move and moment of its life, and if it dares to have anything I don't agree with, it needs to be punished. Like, that's just sick to me. It sickens me. I don't know. It's so. This video doesn't quite have a certain lesson or moral I'm trying to say. Just, it's a surreal thing. Just, it creeps me out. It makes me feel eerie. But it's beautiful. It is. Maybe one day I'll have kids. Maybe I'll have one. Maybe I'll have none. Maybe I'll have a bunch. I'm open minded. But I'll say it like this. I remember. I don't know. I love looking at people's baby photos. It's my favorite thing. 100%. I like that when I was 17, I got to date this guy and see him on a video call with his dad. And he was so different from his dad and his mom in a million ways. But you saw deep down that's like, oh, okay, he's got his dad's cheekbones. He's got his mom's extremely nice, wide, beautiful smile. He got his mom's creative side. And he's got his dad's temperament and low tolerance for bullshit. He's got his mom's optimism and his dad's ability to shut down. It was very interesting. For me, I don't know if I want to depress myself tonight, but you know what? Fuck it. It's already like 3 a.m. Might as well. Let's see. What did I get from my mother? Never mind. I don't want to go down that route. I don't know, it's just something about it fascinates me. I like that humans are like little mosaics of generations before them. I like that our descendants can be of like a confusingly beautiful amalgamation of all the people we've ever loved and all the people we've ever hated. I find that beautiful. I kind of like that it's like, okay, I could have sex with some really cool dude who I thought was awesome, and then my children can have his beautiful eyes and my cheekbones, but his lips and my eyebrows and my skin tone, but his hair color, and it can be so confusing and unexpected, but still, I will love that child, and I will fucking end anybody who tries to get between me and that child. I like how I can, like, what if I hated my mother in law, but then my kid had the mother in law smile? Then it would be the best smile in the world to me. Like, I see people where they'll post about how they hate themselves, but then their kid looks just like them and they love their kid's futures. They just hate it on themselves. I find that really fascinating. I find it fascinating how, like, I find it interesting that you could hate the person you had a kid with, and then you could have kids that look just like them and grow into 10 times better versions of them, and you can fucking love it. I find it interesting how you could give birth to a version of yourself who's exactly like you. And some people will be so weird where they'll love or so called love themselves, but then they'll hate their own kids, and the kids won't meet their full potential. I don't know. I think it's so. I don't know if I'm formulating it correctly. Like, I don't know. I guess I thought about Mitchell and his family tonight because I thought his family doesn't want to get to know anything about him. His dad is just some asshole who was an asshole when he was a kid, and now that he's an adult, doesn't really give a fuck about anything in his life. I think that's sad. I think it's so weird because it's like, let me get this straight. You lived your whole life in the like 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. You've grown into an old man. You got a son who's about to turn 30 soon. And instead of genuinely being like, wow, I made a son who looks exactly like me, and they get to go on journeys in a new generation and a new timeline and try so many different things, and I can genuinely get to know, like, imagine, like, that's kind of like the equivalent of being able to make your own, like, you know how in movies they have those like clones of you from other dimensions or whatever, like how you could jump to an alternate timeline where, oh, what if I married this guy instead of that guy, and you get to see how drastically your life would have changed or whatever. It's kind of like that, except you get to make that from scratch, because it's like, okay, you're some dude who grew up in the 60s, and now you get to fucking hand make your own fucking like millennial version of yourself from scratch and teach it how to love, how to hate, how to communicate, all sorts of stuff. It's a beauty and a tragedy in it, and it's sad to know that they fucked up. So I don't know, it's like, how can you be a parent who looks at basically like a mirrored version of yourself and just feels so okay with knowing that there's a version of you from your own flesh and blood out there that you know fucking nothing about, that you don't bond with, you don't care about, you don't want to get to know. Something about that disturbs me, especially because you had a direct consequence on the why they are who the fuck they are. That unsettles me. I remember my ex-boyfriend Liam. You know, on the first day we talked about his backstory. I won't say too much about it out of respect for him, but I do find it fascinating how it's like, he's completely fine never seeing anyone in his family again. He knows he has a brother out there. He does not give a fuck. He only cares about, like his adoptive family, which is totally valid. They treated him very well. And he only sort of cares about himself, and he cares about me to an extent. So, but I do find it funny how it's like, oh, interesting. Looking at baby photos where it's like you see that his mom has the same huge blue sparkling eyes and the same luscious head of like beautiful auburn curly hair in the same jawline. And it's interesting to know that it's like, oh, okay, so she was strung out on drugs. She was a prostitute. Sorry, she was a lot of things. And it is fucked up to know that she kind of like gave birth to like, oh, here's a baby boy who looks almost just like me. I'm going to just abandon it and neglect it a bunch. Why would she do that? I know she was lost. I know she was confused, but some things are just inexcusable, so I don't blame him for never caring about a relationship with her. Plus, hey, she could have always reached out when she wanted to. She didn't. And the whole reason he has the family he has now is because she abandoned it a long time ago. So I don't blame him for not wanting to give her grace when she fucking didn't to some children who were under the age of 10. Put them in bad situations. I hope he forgives me for saying this on camera. And it's interesting to look at like his dad. It's so weird because it's like you think he looks almost exactly like his mom until you see his dad, and it's like, oh, that's where he gets his charismatic smile from. The big goofy grin with the with the nice like big front teeth and the sharp little fangs. And it's like, oh, I see. So he got his mom's nose and his dad's teeth, and his mom's big old eyes and his dad's eyebrows. And it's interesting to know that it's like maybe those were the parts that his parents didn't like about themselves, but it came out in him, and he looked so fucking lovely. And he's a beautiful man. He wants nothing to do with his dad. He only has one memory of his dad. And eventually his dad went to jail. And it's interesting to know that it's like, oh, I don't know. The idea of creating life and not caring about what happens to your offspring is so weird. And I think it's good to care about descendants, but I don't think it's quite owed. You know what I mean? It's nice. It would be nice if I had grandchildren that cared about me. Grandchildren that went, okay, how is Grandma Tam's life? Or Uncle Tam if I go that route. Like, oh, we got our eyes from her. We got the speech impediment from her. Oh, look, we have her nose and her eyebrows and her eyelashes. Something about that. I just love it. A mosaic of people's love and hatred for each other, and perseverance, and much, much more. I find it so interesting in a way that I can't even fathom. I dated this guy for a bit. His name was Alex. He was an asshole, but we can talk about that another day. He said that his mom always went out of his way to say that he was an ugly, disappointing child. I found a photo of him when he was younger through stalking, obviously, and I have to say that was the most adorable kid ever. Was he a little unconventional looking? Yeah, but it's like, okay, this is a young Jewish kid. It's like, okay, his nose is a little bigger, his lips are kind of thin, his eyes are a little beady, but it's still a perfectly adorable fucking child. It's a child. And what's even worse is that Alex told me himself, he was like, I look just like my mother, and she hates that about me. Because his mother didn't like how she looked at all. And you know, she was attracted to her husband, even though they should have never gotten together. You know, opposites attract, as they say. You know, she was a creative artiste with like strong nerves, but at times, but a hot temperament. And he was an analytical guy who didn't feel many emotions and didn't allow himself to express. So he liked that she had what he lacked, and they had kids, and those kids hate themselves because they were two people who shouldn't have gotten together, and even if they did, they should have learned how to love, so their kids would learn how to love. Alex did not know how to love. That's why he waited until our second and a half date to tell me that he was divorced, and that's why we didn't even make it past the third date, because he doesn't know how to love. He doesn't love himself, and he doesn't know how to love other people, and he's insecure as an adult. Interesting to know that just because someone's mother didn't love you, you can take that out on women for the rest of your life, but whatever. And it's truly upsetting because, mind you, even though Alex, from like grown ass man, I find him disgusting in a lot of ways. I will say it's like he had very beautiful, huge brown eyes, like warm cups of espresso with caramels mixed into it. And, you know, he had quite a cute little smile. I liked his grin a lot. I liked his nose. It was fucking massive, but, you know, it was great. I love men with big noses. You can look through my dating history, and that will be a very well known, consistent shout out to men with the noses. I don't even have to say why I like it. You just know why. And I liked his hair texture. I liked his hair color. I liked his quirky fashion, even though he was weird. I don't know. So one second he dresses like it's fucking Aeropostale or Hollister. The next second he's got big rings on to feel like a king. And he had definitely some emotional complexes, but I didn't mind. Because if someone wants to feel good and I like them, why wouldn't I make them feel good? I wish we had the same mindset about that, but we didn't, and that's why we didn't get past the third date because he thought it was okay to neg me, to try to convince me to fuck him, which was the dumbest thing ever. But you know what? I don't know. We both had mommy issues and we both handled it differently. I'm the type of person where I'm like, if someone wants love and affection, I'll probably give it to them. Why not? Especially if I feel like they love me back, or at the very least like me. I'm fine to give. And then meanwhile, he was like, because of the way he grew up and the way he saw his parents interact, he just believed, love is not owed to me. I do not deserve it, and if anyone's giving it to me, it's false and facade. So I should take what I can, what I want when I can get it, because I'm never going to experience real love, so I may as well fill it with lust or ego boost or whatever I can, because I will never feel satisfied. And I find that very sad, and he's not the only man I've met that feels that way. And I don't know. It makes my head spin. I meet a lot of men who look like their mothers. And it's always interesting because those are usually the ones who have like not every single dude, but most of them have had complexities with them. I just think it's so fascinating. It's like, how would you feel giving birth to a child who is like you, like a mirrored version of yourself, maybe gender bent? And to know that somehow you fucked them up where they can never see the opposite gender the same way again or treat them well. That they don't like what they see. I don't know. It's like if you abuse your child and your child looks just like you, to me that's a form of self-hatred because it's like your child is a mirrored version of you. That's it. So you're looking at a version of yourself that deserves love, kindness, attention, empathy, and you're depriving it of it, probably because you hate yourself in some sort of weird, twisted way. And then that child grows up, and how does it feel to know that when your child grows up, they'll look in the mirror, and when they see, oh shit, I've got my dad's eyelashes, I've got my mom's hip bones, I look like them, that they might scream and cry and want to kill themselves because they can't stand being related to someone like you. They don't like what they look like in the mirror because they look like you, their biggest tormentor, someone who also hated themselves. It's so interesting to know that not only can you pass on genetics like eyelashes and noses and muscles and feet, you can also pass on self hatred and misery and an inability to love and an inability to process and communicate and grow. And I find that sad. But shout out to the people who still find a way to love throughout it all. Whether it's they had a kid that they didn't quite want who looks just like their evil baby daddy or baby mama, but they still treat the kid with softness and love because that's what it fucking needs. Shout out to the people who, like, straight up had fucked up parents but still try their best to love themselves every fucking day because they know it's like, okay, do you want to continue on certain things through future bloodlines? I plan to stop the whole bloodline thing in my family of everybody losing their fucking mind and beating children and being psychopathic. I plan to at least try to stop that in my bloodline as best as I can. Because I would like to not pass that on as something that is ingrained into my lineage. I want my kids to look at someone like me and be like, wow, she persevered. Like, she loved herself so much through terrible conditions. And because of that, I learned how to love myself. And I know how to persevere. I don't want to be one of those people that teaches their kids how to give up. How to be scared, how to be terrified, how to never grow. Some people like that, they just shouldn't be parents. So when I looked at myself in the mirror, I thought to myself, I'm gonna, like, I broke my mom's habit because even as I gain weight, I've been through a lot recently. I've been eating more, a lot of caffeine, a lot of alcohol, all that. I would like to not pass on the alcoholism gene, and I would like to avoid being someone's annoying, agitated, fucking snarky wine mom or wine aunt or whatever, just like my mother was. I'm working on it. I'm figuring it out. And I plan to end that so that doesn't continue on, and I don't want to have a kid that I can only bond with through drinking or whatever, like my mom, or gossip. I'm better than that. And even as I notice things about myself that are genetic, like, certain things popped up where it's like, all right, dark circles are genetic to my mom's side. Like my grandma has them, my mom has them, and I have them, and I love them. I look beautiful as fuck. Like I look like a sexy ass Junji Ito character when they're stressed, and I like that. I can really perfect the Stanley Kubrick stare because of it. And I've been gaining weight, and I'm fine with that, because I remembered the way like I remember looking at my grandmother and how fucking disgusting she was, but I know that it's like, okay, her being fat didn't make her disgusting. Her being abusive and unhygienic and terrible did. I know that I never really truly had an issue with my mom being fat. Not at all. She did, though, and I remember the way she took out the anger on people because she didn't like herself, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna dare to like myself so that even if I gain weight, it's like, okay, I'm either gonna suck up and fucking eat healthy and work out to avoid gaining more, or better yet, I'll just be okay with like going a size up. And I'll still like myself. I'll break a generational curse that I'm supposed to just be fat and hate myself. Cause no, it's like, I'm gonna get some plumpage. I'm still gonna get fucked by however many people I want, consensually, and still gonna have a bunch of amazing romances and friends and an awesome life. And I'm gonna still love myself because, like, yeah, it's what I deserve. And I'm gonna teach my kids that they can love themselves. Like, be healthy, everything in moderation, but no matter what, love yourself. Like, nah, I don't want kids that think it's normal to skip meals and chug alcohol when they're sad. I want kids that know how to healthily communicate and that there's a million other things to bring them bliss on this planet than a can of beer or drugs or whatever the fuck, just like my ancestors did, like my grandmother on my mom's side and my mom. No, thank you. Ah, and yeah, I just kind of, I'll put it this way. When I look in the mirror, I don't want to see my mother. Some things that I got from her, sure, I don't mind that, but I do not want to see my mother. I don't want to look in the mirror and see a spiteful, angry, depressed alcoholic with a temperament who scares off her loved ones. I don't want that. I want to see Tamia. I want to see Timidity. I want to see Tam. I want to see a girl whose smile stretches across her face hella big because she's just so happy to be alive. I want to see someone who's optimistic and self loving and always takes good care of herself, always. I want that and I deserve it. And I think more people do too. For Mitchell and for Alex and all those other people I've met who look like their parents that hated them, I think it's sad, but you know what? I wish that they looked in the mirror and they could notice, like, oh shit, am I just another version of my mother who I hate? Am I just becoming another version of my dad who I always despised? Like, I wish that people would do the introspective work. And I wish that they also would tell themselves, I don't have to be like them. I wish Mitchell would stop hating himself and punishing himself for the sins of his father. Like, yes, his father hurt him, his mother was neglectful more. It does not mean he was ever fucking unlovable. Not a goddamn thing on him was fucking unlovable. Disgusting. Like, he was a terrible man in a few ways when we met. But I will say, I don't hate him as much as one would think. I'm disgusted by certain things he did, but a consistent I have thought is that that man had no reason to hate himself that fucking bad. And ironically, him hating himself and then lashing out on others and not knowing how to control his emotions He's becoming just like his dad, who didn't know how to love, who jumped from fling to fling to fling and cheated on his mother and lashed out on him and his brother when he was young. And it's like, why do you want to be your dad? Or do you want to be Mitchell? What version of Mitchell do you want to be? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be outgoing and exciting and energetic? Do you like your life? Cool. Then don't hate yourself just because some stupid fucking weirdo who looks vaguely like you hated you. You don't have to. You can do better. I think it's kind of interesting in a sense. Whenever I think about all the people in this world who had kids when they shouldn't have, sometimes I think of it like this. Sometimes I think, what if that person was so evil and this person was dumb enough to fuck them? And then the world gets lucky and they birth a whole new type of person who's really fucking awesome. And I think I'm an example of that. Like, two people, like, my mom had a restraining order against my dad. It's like two nut jobs with various mental health issues decided to get together throughout all the chaos and drama and stupid shit, and I was born. And I guess I had the best qualities of both, and I knew what the worst of them was, and I decided to avoid becoming the worst of them, and that helped. And then next thing you know, I was able to achieve a bunch of shit that they couldn't. It felt kind of like God being like, these people are squandering their gifts, so let me just recycle the potential and give it to the next offspring then. And I find that beautiful, sad and yet beautiful. To know that, like, what if that happens to me one day? I rebuke it, knock on wood. But it is like, I guess it would bring a sort of comfort. I see why it would make someone spiteful, resentful, or jealous of their child, but it would be like, think about it. You weren't doing shit with that potential anyway, so if I up and had a kid, and next thing you know, like, I lost my waistline, lost a bunch of my health and movement and memory and da 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 da, and then my next kid got it and was able to do things like, I don't know, win Golden Globe awards and like won triathlons and like do a million other things, and also have a bunch of kids with much better people than I can ever pick, and then they all have my eyes, I would just be really fucking graciously happy. It's like, I'm so glad you got to do better than me. I think my mom had moments like that when I was dating too. If I was ever going on a date with a dude who had money, she would be happy. She would tell me, wow, he got you 3 entrees and a drink and a dessert to take home. Back in my day, I couldn't even get more than 1 entree, and even then we had to split it. And it's like, wow. And she would just be happy to know that it's like, all right, like, she had a terrible time dating, but like, I guess, her fucking a crazy dude with a restraining order meant that I got the beauty of her looks mixed with my dad's height and legs and waistline and stuff, and I now get to do things that she can't or couldn't, and she just got to be happy and live vicariously through me for that reason, because she got to see like a version of herself that lived up to its full potential. I find that interesting. Also, I'm not sure why I'm congested right now, considering I've been running an air purifier for like several hours, but I think maybe that's where I'll wrap it up for now, but I'll just say it. I don't know, I think it's like a beautiful masterpiece and a mess at once. To know that, I don't know, you could have a kid with someone who's a nightmare of a person, but still give birth to like a practical clone of them that's gonna be bigger and better than both of you. And I hope that if that ever happens to you or me, that we both use it well. And that we make kids that are astoundingly grateful to be alive. And have awesome fates. Alright? God bless. Whew, I'm tired.